iCarly, home to the original vloggers. Can you believe that it's already been, how long? 14 years since the last, since the pilot debuted? And 14 years later, social media has changed a lot. And so has iCarly. Both its impact on social media, the culture around social media, and just the way the television shows are. And, you know, I just gotta say, I'm loving iCarly. iCarly is one of my favorite shows of all time. I maintain that. You know, I rewatched the first 3 seasons on Netflix. I watched the first 2 seasons. There's only 2 seasons, really, but they combined a bunch of episodes to make it 40 episodes total. Was checking out some of the extras on Paramount Plus, since they have the entire series. And I was rewatching it, and I was really thinking to myself, this show is just as good as I remember it, if not even better, knowing that I can understand all of the hidden jokes that I may not have gotten the first time.
What do you say we move this party to the couch?
The couch is broken.
Well, why don't we go break it some more?
Months later, the announcement that the reboot came out, I didn't know what to even think, man. I was just I felt like the heavens were calling me. The multimedia universe was just looking down on me and appreciating the fact I was looking back on the nostalgia, and they answered my calls. You know, I have a lot of thoughts on it. The first 4 episodes are out, including a 5th, I guess, unofficial episode of just a sit-down talk, sort of like a question and answer with the cast and the new cast, and it was very entertaining. I watched that before the first 4 episodes. This is my first video essay, so bear with me if I'm struggling on my commentary a little bit, but I wanted to make this in terms of expressing to you how I feel about the iCarly reboot, the pros and cons of both, and the overall thoughts. So here we go. I have a notes app loaded with a bunch of stuff that I typed up. So let's start with the pros of what they did right. The first pro, Dan Schneider is not a part of the show's reboot, after he caught himself in some controversy and was consequently released from his Nickelodeon contract. You know, he caught a lot of traction, and not the right way. And no matter what the creative geniuses he had, he's responsible for so many great shows like Zoe 101, Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victorious, you name them. It's a shame. It's really a shame. Because he had a very creative mind, but despite that, you know, I'm glad he's gone from it. I'm glad they were able to make the show work without his presence. I guess another pro here is Miranda and Jerry, all of the main stars of iCarly that are in the reboot, are all responsible for playing a role in producing each episode. So, as far as I've seen, in the opening credits, you saw Jerry Trainer produce some of them, Miranda, Nathan Kress. I think he directed 1 or 2, I'm not exactly sure how many. He also posted on his Instagram. He really got to direct his own video, finally, in spirit with the Freddy character, of course. So I wanted to get kind of into the dynamics of the actual show. Kind of watching this for the first time, my initial reaction was just pleasure. I was smiling. I was very happy. I was laughing at some of the jokes because it brought me back to old times. I was really feeling it. I was really excited with the timing. The comedic timing was there. The new atmosphere while building upon the old with some of the new, and also having situations that kind of parallel TV show kind of scripts, you know? And I felt like there was 2 different subplots that were kind of combined into one episode, sort of like how characters go off and do their own thing while another character goes off and does another thing. So I think it was really well done in that dynamic. One of the things that I pointed out, and this might be kind of weird and very obscure, but I really liked the use of the old people. You know, the Dan Schneider formula back in the day was to use old people, incorporating the mix of the young child stars and the teen stars with the older people, and you kind of got those crazy fun reactions, and those interactions were always a good time. Take Drake and Josh, for example.
I just made a date to fight my girlfriend. Excuse me, but who are you? Were you invited to this party?
Got any plum juice?
Nobody has plum juice.
Great! I took a bullet in Korea. Now I can't get a lousy glass of plum juice.
It was just one of those interactions that made the show a little bit funnier and a little bit more unique, because you often don't find old people interacting with the younger stars and making a scene very memorable.
Oh, I got eyes on a suspect.
Oh, she's shady.
Let's take her down.
I think one of the main aspects of why I appreciate the show Reboot is because it has new takes on old staples. Obviously, nothing can stay the same forever, but I'm glad that they made it a little bit more like modernized. It kind of ties in more with Spencer's new character. As he's advanced in his art career, he's become very rich, but obviously he's still not really rich and in common sense, so he's still pretty stupid.
I am reborn! Ooh, look at Spencer with his waiters and his remodeled apartment and his Swarovski crystal boxer briefs. Still just a regular guy.
Gold leaf martini?
Yes, please. I left it next to my cell phone, which broke out into a spontaneous fire. Anyway, now I own a falcon named Jericho.
He hasn't changed in terms of his traditional humor, which helped elevate the show to begin with. If anything, it adds to his lovability, because he's wealthy and powerful, but he can't take control of his own actions. So, I mean, that's the Spencer we all know and love. I mean, come on now.
The salt will neutralize the pepper spray! Oh God, I was so wrong!
Channeling that inner Crazy Steve Spencer combo, wild actor that he is, and, you know, we miss him. He also has not aged very much at all. He looks almost exactly like his old self, which is really, really crazy. Especially with all the screaming. You can't imagine how much, like, internalized stress he must put on his body just to scream and hurt himself and fall down. Like, come on. But at the same time, I feel like he's a fun-loving guy. So, like, at the same time, I feel like, if anything, these might have been some of the best moments of his career and of his life. So maybe he's just happy all the time. Maybe he's just aging well because he takes care of himself. Maybe it's the spaghetti tacos. I don't know. I also really like the classic TV swerves. In episode 2, notably, the return of Nora. In the plot, it was very familiar to a traditional episode of, like, older 2000s TV. You know, Carly has a hater on the internet, and she is trying to figure out who it is. Why would anybody hate on Carly, you know? So she meets this guy at Skybucks, where her roommate and new best friend is working. She comes across this really cute dude. Again, similar to the formula of the old shows. You find a cute guy, you talk to him. You know, he's got a shady past. But not him. He's unsuspecting. He has a muffin. He wanted a banana nut muffin. He didn't get it, but then Carly insisted because he's cute. And men are kind of seen as objects in this show. Don't necessarily agree with that. Men are always the object. I was able to kind of predict and see what was coming next. So, spoilers if you haven't seen any of these episodes yet, but the guy that she ran into was in fact the hater. Bum bum boom! But it was predictable. But it was one of those swerves, those classic swerves that are easy to spot, but is also what makes the show so fun, because you know what's about to happen. An unsuspecting, charismatic, pretty, charming guy or gal ends up being the one that is behind the conflict to begin with. Sort of like Carly's best friend, Misty. Misty, that's right. Remember Misty, Carly's best friend, and trying to sabotage Sam and Carly's relationship? It was one of those charming characters that you, like, believed in but knew there has to be something else to her. So I appreciated that aspect. Even if it was just a very slight instance, it was one of those things that returned it to old form. I love that the characters are explorative, and they're on a spectrum of sexualities. I like that Carly's roommate can just have a casual, not forced, way of using her sexuality to be a progressive, forward-thinking aspect to the TV show. Such as the instance where Harper has a girl over and the girl leaves. I thought it was a very cool interaction. It wasn't anything that was too serious, but it was also cool because it gives you insight into a different kind of character that iCarly hasn't really seen before, and I really appreciated that. And as Jerry Trainer would say, it tackled more mature themes. The new reboot does. Obviously there's cursing, which is one of the best things about it. It's cool. You can add a little pizzazz to the show.
You gotta switch it up on a bitch. Damn it. What is this hell?
So now we know Freddy is a stepfather. He has a stepdaughter named Millicent. Obviously another pro. We see an advancement in not only Carly but Freddy, and we get to see him in a different role, being a more nurturing role. Not really, because his stepdaughter kind of walks all over him.
Millicent, do not post that.
I'm making content.
I told you to stop recording me.
Just because you adopted me doesn't make you my dad.
Literally, it does.
Which I think kind of plays into the original Freddy character. Freddy's kind of a pushover in the original show. Obviously he's a kid, but he is usually the victim, and he kind of just has to sit there and take it. And I feel like part of the show's humor is also is sort of to the point where you can shut down a character, take away their self-confidence, and they're just like, okay. You know, and that's sort of how the show works. And I feel like that kind of carries on realistically in Freddy's life, to where you can see that reflected in his fathering skills, where he kind of just lets her get away with whatever she wants because he knows that he can't stop her. So I think it's funny, but it also explores not really fulfilling the entire stepdad role, but he's trying to get closer to his stepdaughter, which I think is endearing, and I can't wait to see where that goes. I like the fact that Millicent is feuding with everybody. She's got a beef with literally everybody. She's trying to take Carly out of the vlog game, and she's sassing Freddy. I think that she is kind of parallel to Sam a little bit in the way that she is witty, but she also doesn't take ish from anyone. Another pro is that it was still fresh. I feel like going into iCarly, I had high hopes, and I feel like most new shows that I watch, when the pilot episodes come, and the first few episodes of season 1 of a show aren't necessarily great, and it's hard to get the show off the ground a little bit. But I feel like the new shows that I watch are pretty mediocre. Not with iCarly. I feel like the reboot isn't perfect yet, but it's still simultaneously very nostalgic and refreshing at the same time. I also noticed another detail regarding the guy characters in the show. You know, the side characters of Beau, that one guy that Carly went on a date with, and then that other guy that Carly went on a date with. The character personalities of them kind of reminded me of the old ones. Oftentimes gross characteristic that turns Carly off from them, or is a concerning red flag that she ends up going to Sam and Freddy about. So I feel like in this you can see that. I feel like they have the similar character interactions and dialogue choices, the writing, the comedic timing, and the jokes are both witty, creative, and nostalgic.
George, the bra that told ghost stories. I never did grow into you. Did you know I was about to leave?
I set a timer, and when it went off, I opened the door, and there he was.
I needed this. I had discarded dairy juice for dinner.
No way.
Yes way. Interesting.
And I think the last thing that I really appreciated about this reboot is the excitement of the original characters popping in for future episodes. There are endless possibilities with how you can incorporate the likes of Nevel, Bluebird, T-Bow, and we already saw a little sneak peek of Miss Benson, the return of old characters being brought into new situations, because everybody's growing up. Like, where's the groovy smoothie now? Is it the Smoothie Kingdom? And with the way that the show's structured, you could really make any of these stories however you'd like them to be. There's so much creative imagination that you could put into it. Now, with the cons. And there aren't that many. I feel like there's less to do with the show, and more with the things surrounding the show. The new characters are still fresh, but I'm not used to their role in the show quite yet. I'm not exactly sure on their personalities too much. We know Harper is a barista at Skybucks. Believe me, I've been there. Starbucks. Fun. But we know she has aspirations to become a stylist. Millicent, on the other end, is trying to create her vlog channel, and she's also very, very witty and able to use social media and use computers to both blackmail and get what she wants. And I think that's a really cool aspect to her character because it shows the brilliance of young kids. I still think I need to see more episodes to kind of get into their characters a little bit more because they're still fresh to the scene. And yeah, but I still like their presence in the show, and I'm looking forward to see what happens to both of them. I also believe the way that you need to watch the new iCarly episodes is a little bit of a hassle, knowing that it's a subscription basis and that weekly episodes are coming out on Paramount Plus. And with money, it's just kind of a hassle. We want to have to tack on $5 a month just to watch iCarly. Let's face it, most of the Paramount Plus subscribers are for iCarly, but it also makes it a bit harder to keep up with the show because they're coming out on a weekly basis. This is kind of a clever marketing strategy to where they come out every single week and they only give you a free trial for like a month. You only get to watch a certain amount of episodes until the entire season's over. They kind of encourage you to want to renew your subscription. I kind of prefer the method of Netflix where they kind of give you the entire season all at once so that you can kind of binge it and see the complete thing in itself. Although I do understand what Paramount's going for, to wanting people to return to the product, end up subscribing to it and kind of getting used to it. Especially with the saturation of streaming services today, I feel like it's a little bit overkill to have, you know, another one tacked on. But at the same time, I'm still gonna do it because I really like the show and I want to support it. Plus, I'm getting Paramount Plus for like 99 cents for the first 2 months. I think they're trying to incentivize and they're doing a pretty good deal so far. So we'll see where that goes, and hopefully it becomes a little bit more affordable or accessible. I guess lastly is that we're missing Sam and Gibby. Obviously Sam was written off the show. At the end of the last episode of iCarly, Sam is seen taking off on a bike. And also Gibby, you already know, Gibby was an iconic character, one of the most important characters to it being funny and being synonymous with its cringe humor. It worked very well, especially for a staple of iCarly, of a guy who just literally announces himself by his own name as he walks into a room with the shirt off. So that's kind of something I'm gonna miss. All in all, I think iCarly did a really good job with this reboot so far. It's left me feeling very positive about the show and its direction, and I'm looking forward to see what they do with the rest of season 1, because there's like 13 episodes in total. I hope you guys have enjoyed the series as much as I have so far, and let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys listening this far if you have, and good lord, this is my first video essay, but I feel like I did pretty alright. I will see you guys in another one.